Hey everyone. So, you know how we talk about the flu shot every year? Well, this year, the headlines feel a little different, a lot more alarming, actually. And they're all pointing to this one big question about how well the vaccine is actually going to work.
Right? This is the question that's probably on your mind. Did we all just get a shot that's already out of date? It's a totally fair question, and today we're going to get into exactly what is going on.
You see headlines like this, and of course, it grabs your attention. It sounds like we're in for a really rough flu season, but what's the actual science behind a warning like that?
Okay, so the heart of the issue is something scientists are calling a mismatch. And it all boils down to a new, evolved version of the flu virus that literally popped up after this year's vaccine was already designed and being made.
So let me introduce you to the main character in our story, subclade K. It's a new mutated version of an influenza A strain called H3N2. You can kind of think of it as the flu's latest plot twist, and its new mutations are exactly why all the experts are watching it so closely.
So, what's the big deal with subclade K? Well, over the summer, it picked up 7 new mutations. Think of it like this. The virus has a key, and our vaccine creates the perfect lock for it. But these mutations changed the shape of the key. Now, it's a lot harder for our vaccine's lock to recognize it and work properly. And this isn't some far-off problem. It is already the dominant H3N2 strain in the UK, and yep, it's been spotted right here in North America.
You know, this whole situation just perfectly illustrates this constant cat-and-mouse game that public health officials have to play with the flu virus, year in and year out.
And to really get why this race even exists, you gotta understand the two main players, influenza A and B. The key difference here is that influenza A, the group that H3N2 belongs to, mutates way faster. This super-fast evolution is what keeps creating new strains, and it's the entire reason we need a new flu shot every single fall.
And this timeline, this really shows you the fundamental challenge. Health experts from around the world have to make their best educated guess way back in February about which flu strains are going to be the biggest problem 8 months later. It's a system that usually works pretty well, but it leaves this huge window of time for the virus to change, which, as we just saw, is exactly what happened this year with subclade K.
So making that prediction is already incredibly difficult. But this year, the challenge got even bigger, because the global system we rely on to track the flu, well, it's running into some serious problems.
Take a look at this number, 60%. That is a massive drop, but what does it represent?
It means there's been a 60% drop in the number of flu samples sent to the CDC from all over the world. These samples are basically the eyes and ears of the whole surveillance system. Without them, it's like trying to track a storm with your radar offline. You just can't see what the virus is doing in real time.
But wait, that's not even the whole story. There's another number we have to talk about, 65%.
So not only are there fewer samples overall, but there's also been a 65% drop in the number of countries sending them in. Reports are suggesting this is because of divestment in public health. With these giant blind spots on the world map, that prediction game we talked about becomes so much riskier.
Okay, so after all of that, yeah, it sounds a little grim. You're probably thinking, well, is the shot even worth getting? And according to every public health expert out there, the answer is a huge, resounding yes.
This quote from Dr. Jamie Lopez-Bernal over at the UK's Health Security Agency, it just sums it up perfectly. Even with a potential mismatch, the vaccine is still, by far, our best defense against getting seriously sick.
And we actually have data to prove it. Early numbers from the UK show that even against this new subclade K, the vaccine is doing a great job at preventing hospitalization. We're talking around 70 to 75% for kids and 30 to 40% for adults. That is a huge level of protection.
And, just to put those numbers in perspective, they fall right in the middle of the typical range we see for flu vaccine effectiveness most years, which is usually somewhere between, say, 19 and 60%. So yeah, it's not perfect, but what we're seeing this year isn't really an outlier.
And this right here, this is the most important thing to remember. The main job of the flu shot isn't necessarily to guarantee you won't get sick at all. Its number one most crucial job is to keep you out of the hospital and to prevent the absolute worst outcomes from the virus.
To really feel the impact of that, let's just look at what the vaccine pulls off in a single typical season. We've got some CDC data here. First up, 9 million.
That's 9 million cases of the flu that simply never happened. all because of vaccination.
Okay, next number. Over 118,000. What's that?
That is how many people were kept out of a hospital bed in just one season. I mean, that's the power of the vaccine, even when it's not a perfect match. It saves lives and it protects our entire healthcare system from being overwhelmed. So where do we go from here? Well, this whole annual race against a shape-shifting virus has scientists all over the world pushing hard for a permanent solution, something that gets us off this yearly treadmill.
And there's basically a 3-step roadmap to get there. Step 1 is just to make better seasonal vaccines that give us longer, stronger protection. Step 2 is to create what are called broadly protective vaccines that can fight off multiple types of flu at once. And then, the holy grail, Step 3, is a true universal vaccine. One shot that could protect you against pretty much any flu strain, potentially for years.
Just think about that. What if one single shot could end the flu season for good? That's the big question that's driving all this incredible research. So while we deal with the challenges of this season with the best tool we've got, the hunt is on for a future where maybe, just maybe, the annual flu shot is the thing of the past. Thanks so much for tuning in.